Hi, I'm Madeline.
And I'm Caroline, and you're listening to Talkitecture, the podcast where we gossip as students
And spill the tea on all things architecture.
This episode is our monthly game episode. We will be ranking softwares and all architecture-related technology.
Oh, yeah.
The chart we are using will be posted on our Instagram. Please play along. Let us know your thoughts on everything. For our listeners not looking at the chart right now, we have 7 categories, starting from the bottom with death to them all. This is the worst category, to be clear.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the quote, death to them all, it is a Wendy Williams quote.
Of course.
One of my personal favorites.
Okay.
And Madeline can explain the next one.
Okay, the next one is What Was the Reason? Famously said by Cardi B. Second to least. Mm-hmm. Enough said.
And then another Wendy Williams quote, just because there needs to be at least 2 on here.
Of course.
Clap if you've ever wanted to kill somebody.
This, I feel like, is fitting for a third to the bottom because, I don't know.
Because it's sense. Like only admit that you want to kill somebody, but you don't wish death to them all.
No, you wouldn't say you wanted to kill something if you really wanted to kill them. Mm-hmm. It's more just like, whoa, they're so annoying.
Clap if you've had that feeling.
Exactly. The next one is so nasty and so rude, said by Glensta.
I feel like self-explanatory.
Very.
So nasty, so rude.
It's right in the middle.
Mm-hmm. And then our idol, Taylor Swift quote, "No matter how hard you try to avoid being cringe, you will." And this is from the Queen of Cringe. So it's fitting that it's her.
Yeah, it really is. Our millennial queen.
Yes.
Positive connotation.
Positive, yes.
The next one, if you know, you know. You are now one of my elite employees. This is second best. Second best, I would say, is pretty good. If we put something in second best, you are now one of my elite employees. Yes. We love it.
This kind of means to me, like, my opinion of you has changed, and it's only going up from here.
Exactly. Nothing but potential.
Bordering obsession with you.
Oh, yeah.
Really close.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and read the top one?
I think you have to.
Okay, this is a mouthful, so get ready. A quote by Lady Gaga. Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference. This is, like, cannot be beat category. I feel like the quote is self-explanatory.
Yeah. I mean, nonstop praise.
Nonstop praise, yeah.
And that's that.
Okay.
So we're going to start off. We have a list of about 20 different technologies, kind of application things related to architecture that we use in school or don't use in school that are just well known in architecture.
We feel like doing a game night is a perfect way to introduce these to people who might be new to them. We are pretty new to them because we don't want to get in too deep. We're going to be talking pretty generally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to explain what they are.
Yeah.
Some of these we don't even use. Some of them we use all the time. Yeah, we're not experts in any way on any
By
of these.
no means at all. Yeah.
So let's start off with number 1 here on our list, Rhino. So I think Madeline should describe what Rhino is for us because she is the Rhino queen.
Okay. When I did undergrad in architecture, I would basically only use Rhino. Rhino is basically a modeling software where you can kind of construct in a 3D way a building or a model, etc. And then from that, you can do like clipping planes and make plans and sections. I love it. The interface is great. It's beautiful.
It's pretty self-explanatory compared to some other ones on here.
You can make anything from just like a box to a skyscraper. And you can, like, swirl around, look at it, go inside of it. It's awesome. I love it.
There's also, like, a rendered mode. So you can make it in kind of, like, ugly colors. And then you can put it in rendered mode and assign, like, real materials to things. Also, like, it's not always used for architecture.
No.
Other industries, like, I know the jewelry industry, like, uses it. Or just, like, if you want to 3D print something, usually it starts in Rhino.
I like to use it when I'm beginning a project because it's basically like making a small little model by hand but on the computer. It's a good way to introduce a new project.
So where are we going to place Rhino on here?
I don't know. Let's go through the pros and cons of Rhino. What do you think are some cons?
Cons? Okay, for me, at first, it was just so hard to move or place things in it because when you're panning around, it's just like so 3D. I don't know how to say it. It's so 3D.
Yeah.
Like you could place a line and you think you've placed it in the right area, and then you go to a different view and it's like 200 feet away.
It's very finicky.
In the abyss. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. It's weird to get used to because you're used to drawing in 2D, obviously, and then you go to making something in 3D and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, there's also 4 different views in Rhino. So you have like perspective, top, right, and bottom or left.
Yeah.
So you can like view things from different views, but if you like make something in top, then you go to perspective is what we're talking about, then
yes,
it might not be there. You might have just placed it somewhere weirdly.
Yeah, Rhino's one of those things when even though now I love it, it took me about 2 to 3 years to get to that point. It can be kind of frustrating.
Exactly.
So where do we want to place this?
Also use it a lot, I would say.
I use it like every day.
It's kind of like the core of architecture school is like Rhino.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what you will use probably the most.
Probably.
Undergrad or grad, Rhino.
I feel like you either use Rhino or Revit, and we'll get into Revit, but we use Rhino.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I'm kind of feeling you are now one of my elite employees.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah, second from the top. Pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty good, but I mean, there's always room for improvement.
Okay, I like that. Can you explain Revit a little bit?
Okay. Revit is kind of the same to Rhino in that it's a 3D software, except it's pretty specific to architecture.
Yes.
So in Rhino, everything that you build is different geometries, like a box, and that's how you would build stairs. You would stack boxes.
Yeah.
But in Revit, there's a stair command. There's a wall command. There's a ceiling command. Like, everything is pretty specific to architecture, and it's more used in firms, whereas Rhino is not as heavily used in firms because people can translate the Revit model very easily into plans and sections for construction documents.
Yeah, I feel like it can be very easy because if you want to make a door, you can just literally press door and it'll make it for you. But that's also its downfall because then it doesn't really force, at least for me, it doesn't force me to be creative like Rhino does, where I'm really getting to know every inch of the project.
Yeah, Rhino, you just you can do whatever you want. There's no set standard of rules. And in architecture school, they're always trying to get you to build the craziest kind of thing.
Yeah.
And at least at the A school, they're trying to get you to be a little experimental.
Yeah, and I feel like when we start working at a firm, Revit will be great. We'll love Revit. Okay, where do we want to put Revit?
Okay, I'm thinking Revit goes... Clap if you've ever wanted to kill somebody. That's kind of calling out to me with Revit.
I'm clapping. Yeah, it's just not necessary.
No, it's not necessary, and even architects probably don't love it, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think it's
even our professors, I feel like, don't use it that much.
Yeah, some of our professors are practicing architects. They don't use it. It really depends on what kind of architecture firm, I feel like. If you're doing residential housing, that'll get your work done faster.
Oh, for sure.
So I feel like, clap if you ever want to kill somebody.
I'm clapping. Okay, next we have Grasshopper. Grasshopper is an add-on to Rhino. We had a class last semester where we started to use Grasshopper a little bit, and let me just say it did not go well.
Yes. If you go to UVA for grad school, you will take the design computation series, and the first class of this series is all about Grasshopper. And yeah, by the way, you don't learn about Rhino.
No.
No one tells you about Rhino.
It's a fend for yourself situation.
Yeah, it's kind of we expect you to know this.
Yeah.
We know it's your second day here, but you guys already know this, right?
Exactly.
That's exactly what it
wait,
is.
hang on. No, Grasshopper is it's basically coding. You're given just a chart, and you have math equations. I don't know how to explain it.
It's a pseudo coding language. If you were ever a code with Clossy girl, you have all those little buttons. It's not really coding,
what
writing.
Is code with Clossy, may I ask?
Code with Clossy is Carly Kloss.
Okay.
Back in her heyday, her era, she did this whole initiative to get girls to learn how to code.
Oh,
and so it was kind of this coding, the way you're taught to code, I believe. No, I'm not an expert on this.
We never claim to be experts on coding.
No, so this is a very simple breakdown of it.
Yes.
You would kind of move these like buttons around and kind of place like these preset things together, and that's how you would learn the code language and eventually work up to like writing out the code, which is kind of what Grasshopper is, except you don't work up to writing out the code, but it's a bunch of these little buttons and you connect them in different ways, and there's mean and standard deviation and number sliders.
Yeah. It sounds like it would be intuitive, but then you go to like do it, and I feel like Rhino, you only get good at it with trial and error.
Yeah.
And we haven't had a lot of trial.
No.
We've had a lot of error.
Yeah. And I feel like if you know math, like if you like math or you have like any foundation in math, like you took a math class within a year, you're probably more suited for it.
You might love it.
You might love it, because I could see how I would love it if I did that. But the last time I took a math class was freshman year of college.
Yeah, same.
So it's been 3+ years since I've thought about numbers in that way.
Exactly.
So.
Okay. I'm going to have to put Grasshopper and Death to Them All.
Yeah.
That's the lowest category.
It is the lowest category, but I kind of love the what was the reason, because sometimes what was the reason? That just resonates with Grasshopper. What was the reason? Like, why did I need to go into Grasshopper to do this?
Exactly, because it could have been probably easier for me to just make it in Rhino.
Exactly.
Okay, I like what was the reason.
What was the reason?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Next is AutoCAD.
Yes.
AutoCAD is a digital drafting software. Sounds like I'm
eloquently
speaking
put.
For them. This software is mainly 2D. They have a 3D function, but I never
just
heard of
use it.
Anybody ever touching that. And you just draft your plans and sections by hand. So it's kind of the most similar to hand drawing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, like, once you get into it, I kind of got into it more, and it's like kind of fun because there's snaps and you can like get lines to just like touch perfectly. And like once you get in a workflow with it, it's kind of fun because it's just really precise drawing on the computer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what's so good about it. It's so precise. You can get like exact with AutoCAD, which is awesome. I'm not an AutoCAD girl, but I'm getting there.
Also, something that AutoCAD does that will become very important if you're going to study architecture: hatching.
Oh my god. Hatching. Where to begin?
Yes.
Hatching, we'll probably get
What is hatching, Madeline?
Okay, hatching is basically when you want to fill something in. Imagine you have a box, an outline of a box, and you want to color in the box. The color inside the box would be the hatching. And it can get out of control so fast. If you have like more than 3 hatches on one plan, for example, Hatch City.
Hatch City.
Avoid at all cost Hatch City.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never want a Hatch City.
No.
You want one hatch at maybe 90% transparency.
Like you can't see it.
You barely want to see it. You want to kind of know it's there, but not really.
Yeah.
It's in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. Very important to keep in the back of your mind.
Yes.
So AutoCAD's nice for hatching because it makes it so easy.
You kind of just like hover over something and it'll fill it in, versus if you don't know how to use AutoCAD or don't have it, you'll have to like draw shapes in Illustrator, which is a lot more time intensive.
Don't do that. Okay. What are some pros and cons of AutoCAD real quick? I feel like we've said them.
I feel like pro is like the flexibility. It's kind of similar to Rhino in the fact that it's not like Revit where there's like buttons that just like produce things.
Yeah.
You're mainly going to use the line command, the trim command, split, and like circles.
Yeah. And hatch.
Yeah, and hatch.
Yeah.
And you can get by fully with just that.
Yeah. Cons are you can make 3D models in it, but just like don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
You can get kind of turned around in it. One time I like was drawing something on it, and there's a little box in the corner that can rotate it.
Yeah.
And I clicked something. God knows what happened. And
no clicking.
Those drawings were just horrendous at that point.
Yeah. Okay, where do we want to put AutoCAD?
I think AutoCAD can go...
I kind of think you are now one of my elite employees.
Yeah.
Because we use it on the daily.
Because those are like, that's the core. Like Rhino and CAD, core.
Cannot live without them.
Like you will you will use them.
Yes.
That's like 100%
Yeah.
you will use them.
Okay.
In school.
Perfect. So, second to top. Okay, Illustrator. I used to use Illustrator a lot in undergrad. I would go from Rhino to Illustrator, and it's very similar to AutoCAD in a way, where it's just like a blank canvas and you can draw lines and shapes and stuff. But it's not very intuitive. Like, it doesn't know what you're trying to do, almost. Like, when you draw a line next to another line, in AutoCAD, it might automatically connect those lines. Not the case in Illustrator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not meant for architecture. Like, AutoCAD is meant for, like, architecture and for, like, engineering and things like that. But Illustrator is just more artistic, so it's more freeform in a way. It wants you to do whatever. Yeah, the commands aren't as intuitive.
No, they're really not. I used to, like I said, use Illustrator on its own, and hatching in Illustrator is a nightmare. Like, just don't do it. I don't know what I was thinking.
Can't even imagine.
Where do you want to put Illustrator in our tier list?
Thinking no matter how hard you try to avoid being cringe, you will.
I think that's perfect.
It's fitting because it's cringy. I mean, you can use it in a great way or you can use it in a cringe way. And if you are not good at it, it's always going to be cringe.
Like, I actually think Illustrator is great for making diagrams, almost.
Yeah, it's
right?
really good for diagrams. Yeah. Simple things. Unless you're really good at it, and then you can do, like, really cool things in it. But I don't have that skill set yet.
Also, you can use color in Illustrator.
Yes.
We love color.
You can use color.
I don't know if you can use color in AutoCAD. I've never tried.
You can.
Oh, yeah, you can.
You can adjust the hatch color.
Yeah, true. What was I thinking? I did I did that, too. Okay. Yeah, we're putting that in the cringe category. Photoshop.
Okay. Photoshop, I mean, the sister to Illustrator.
Yeah.
I think Photoshop is kind of daunting, but in a way, I feel like more intuitive because nowadays everyone knows how to edit photos on their phone.
Yeah.
So we kind of know what these terms mean. So it feels a little more intuitive than Illustrator, to me at least, going into it with no idea what it is.
I feel like Photoshop is daunting at first, but it's pretty quick to pick up.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, you can use it to render your models that you make on Rhino and stuff like that, put them in a real-world setting, and it's so fun. And now they have AI on that. Can you explain how you might use AI in Photoshop?
So they've done it on Illustrator, too. It's generative fill is what it's called. And you kind of take the selection tool, and you can, like, roughly select anything and type in a little type box, and you can say remove person, for example.
Yeah.
But it's not very good yet.
No.
So Madeline and I were doing this. We were trying to remove me from a photo
of the two of us.
We selected me and said remove person, and AI put these really scary, weird people. It was
hilarious and terrifying. Yeah. I was suddenly standing next to tiny children, just like creepy looking women.
Yeah.
It was weird. But we figured it out.
And what we wrote was remove person.
You would think that would be easy enough, right?
And it was removing the person and putting another person in. Which just, why would I do that?
Why would you do that? I don't understand.
We want the people gone.
Yeah.
So finally you can also tell it to keep doing it, and it'll keep, like, iterating on it and doing it again. And so we got it to do something slightly better. There was, like, a child in the background.
Yeah. It was close enough, but
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Photoshop. I'm thinking it's got to go in the cringe category, too.
Really? I was kind of thinking so nasty and so rude. Just after the whole AI of it all.
The AI event, yeah. I think the AI kind of took it down a notch for us.
The AI could have made it in one of elite employees category, but it let us down.
It did let us down. I did use the AI once, and it was good.
Yeah. Just don't zoom in.
Just don't zoom in. Just don't look too hard.
I think so nasty and so rude is good because it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Right?
And the AI was so nasty and so rude.
So, what it did to you.
What it did to me was horrific.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, so next we have InDesign. InDesign we mostly use to assemble our boards that we pin up when we present. I guess that's pretty... What do you have to say about InDesign?
I mean, I kind of love InDesign.
I do too.
Because I was like a slideshow girl in class always. Like, I would be like, yeah, I'll do the slides. Thank you. Yeah, I'll make the slides pretty.
Yep.
That's my contribution. And InDesign is like a more in-depth, like complicated version of that. Like editing slides and stuff. It was kind of daunting at first because you're like, oh, it's so simple. There's not that many commands. Like, it gets confusing, but it is so simple. Like, don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's the key. Don't overthink it, because there's a lot of buttons on the interface, and it's like they look so similar sometimes that you think they'll do the same things, but no, you're wrong. If you're the kind of person, I feel like, who loves to make slideshows in high school and stuff like that, I love to do that. You love to do that. Then you'll love InDesign. Yeah.
No, InDesign's just like a staple. I mean, it kind of hasn't done me wrong in any way, which is why... And it was so easy to use in the beginning that I'm leaning toward talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because it's done no wrong. It's there for organization of like all the other tools. It's like that final, it's so satisfying when you get to open that InDesign file.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, it's time to place all my work. I'm done.
Yeah.
And just write a little blurb maybe and just present it.
Although... No spell check.
Okay, but we did find out that there is spell check, and we were just wrong.
Yeah, okay. Caroline and I were partners in a group project recently, and we had to pin up our boards, obviously, for a presentation. And as we were presenting, we noticed about 6 to 7 really bad misspelled words. Not my proudest moment.
Like, just like words that we should know.
Because you get used to just typing and having... the computer correct it for you.
Having like the red line pop up. Like you have to turn that on in InDesign.
Yeah.
That's its only flaw. Okay. But it does have it. The feature.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it in the top one.
I feel like
talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, etc.
Exactly. It's simple to me.
Yeah,
it's very simple.
There's nothing really that I would change about it. You know?
Yeah.
And it was easy to pick up because it's very intuitive. You know, drag and drop.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And if you go to UVA, they always give you like InDesign templates to submit your work. So for like so many classes, like we just had to learn it and pick it up. But it was like one of the easiest things to pick up.
Yeah. They did that at UMass too, where they would give us like basically a template. I bet most schools do that. Yeah. But yeah, so nice.
All right. First one in the top tier.
Wow, that's big. I'm kind of surprised we didn't put Rhino up there.
Yeah.
Although, it just takes so long to learn.
It's just so, it can be so complicated. Like, there's some things that are so simple about it, but once you start, like, in architecture, it's really easy for me to build massing models in it right now, but, like... adding the stairs and adding the floor plates for me right now is like...
Yeah, I get that.
That's a whole other learning curve of like making it real in Rhino.
And there are probably some commands that we don't even know exist.
Oh, yeah. There's so many commands. Like if you type a command into Rhino, a gigantic sheet of like, did you mean this? Comes up.
Yeah, exactly. And like, just give me the simplest option, please.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think InDesign in the top tier. Okay.
Moving on. We have... ArcGIS.
Yes.
We're currently Design Comp 2 at UVA is in your second semester of your first year as a Path 3.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of words. You learn GIS.
Yes.
Global Information System.
I don't even know what it stands for. I'm
Geographic Information System.
Whoa,
there we go.
There we go. Nice.
So GIS is just basically that, a geographic.
It's just making maps. It's pretty easy. It's not unique to architecture. Like a ton of majors and schools and people do this.
I'm sure other architecture programs don't even touch on it.
Yeah.
Because it's more just like research before your project about like demographic or like site conditions or existing conditions. But basically, like, any city has this giant data portal that you can access. It's public information about census data, like, population data, just, like, all sorts of environmental data.
Yeah.
Like, so many things.
I didn't even think of it as a research, like, resource. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it is.
That is.
Huh.
Just like a visual, like you can take those data sets into GIS and it puts it on the map in a visual way.
Yeah.
So it'll like color code certain boundaries by whatever setting that you put it in. So like you're looking at income, it'll do like this block is light orange for 0 to 10,000 income.
Yeah.
And it'll like color code a map for you. And then you can take all that stuff into Illustrator and make it like super pretty. But it's a really powerful tool.
It really is. I feel like one con of ArcGIS is just if you get too ahead of yourself and add so much information that it's hard to read.
Yeah, I feel like ArcGIS it's just a lot. It's okay, the interface. We can talk about the interface.
Yeah.
The interface is way more complicated than it needs to be.
Like, just, there's so much going on. The actual screen for where you see the map is actually so tiny because there's too many commands and buttons. Get rid of all the buttons. Petition.
Yes. You'll hear people call where you see all the tools on any of these programs the ribbon. Mm-hmm. There's like 3 ribbons on GIS. Like there's a top one, 2 side ones, a bottom one. So many.
It's actually very scary. The first time I opened ArcGIS, I was like, pause.
Yeah. You're going to feel like, how in the world am I going to use this?
Yeah.
Like in any way. But then you go through some things or like some videos and you're like, oh, I use 5 commands to do this one thing that is like super important, like overlaying data sets. Like,
you just have to get really good at ignoring what you don't need.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, where do we want to put ArcGIS?
I think so nasty so rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, the rude part of ArcGIS is the interface.
Yes, the rude. It's really nasty and it's rude.
Yeah.
It kind of ruins the whole thing because
it does.
I feel like also our scope of it and our understanding of it right now is so limited. So I'm sure there's some reason for all of those commands, but it's just,
I don't care.
It's
I don't even care.
A lot. Like at least hide them.
Yeah.
At least because Rhino, like you open it and it doesn't look like too much, and then you type in the toolbox command and all of a sudden you see 30 other things. But GIS, they put it all in front of your face.
Yeah. It's really nice. I feel like the reason why it's not lower is because it's so fun and satisfying because you know there's going to be a clear outcome. You can color code. We love to color code.
We love to color code.
Like, if you love to pick out colors and color palettes, you'll love ArcGIS.
Yes. Okay, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
We can move on to Slack.
I don't even know what Slack is, so please take it away.
So they introduced Slack to us during SDI, and Slack is just like, it's like a messaging platform for groups.
Yeah. I mean, this is not specific to architecture.
No.
It's basically, it's like a discourse.
Yeah. It's like a discourse, and it's really dumb because just like make a WhatsApp group chat. Like, I don't know, like it just doesn't seem like a necessary platform. Like, I don't get why anyone needs Slack.
I hate when I have to download another app to communicate with people that I'm already texting and WhatsApping.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no reason.
I don't need it. Like, our whole cohort already has a WhatsApp group chat, and that works fine.
Yeah.
And the WhatsApp app is amazing, obviously, because it's so popular, so it works really well. The Slack app does not work very well.
No.
Always missing notifications, never even get notifications, even though they're turned on.
Yeah.
It just never works.
Yeah. The only reason we even have this on our list is because for some reason our professors love it. I think it's because they like to be a part of our little group chats.
Yeah, they like to have their insight into our group chats.
And what we talk about.
We don't like
They just
that.
like to eavesdrop,
They
honestly.
love to eavesdrop.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I'm thinking this is a very clear answer.
Death to them all.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Death to them all.
Death to them all.
Slack.
Yeah, it's just just get rid of it.
It's gotta go.
Yeah. Okay, next we have Procreate. This is an app. I think it's only used on iPads. It can only be used on iPads.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I have it on my iPad. I really only use this to make diagrams and sometimes renders and like collages and stuff. It's really fun and easy to use when you get into the like diagramming part of the project because it's just drawing. It's basically just drawing on a piece of paper but digitally.
I think the last time I used it I was like a kid Because it was like one of those apps I downloaded onto my iPad just to draw when I was a kid. And it was really fun. I loved it. I can see how it would be really helpful for architecture. I want to get it, but my Apple Pencil is currently dead.
Yeah.
So I need to get a new Apple Pencil to use it. But Madeline uses it a lot, and I feel like it's just a like efficient way when you kind of need a break from the Illustrator, the Photoshop, all of those platforms. Procreate is kind of just like a little sketchbook, but digital.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looks really
It's so
cute.
nice. I love using it. I use it in the place of Illustrator a lot because it's just fun. It's just like an accessory almost. Like you don't need it, but it's fun to have.
But it's a good one to have. I feel like you can do some kind of more creative things on it because depending on where you go to architecture school, renderings will kind of be a hot topic. And some places will like a photorealistic render.
Yeah.
And some will like a more like watercolor, artsy render. And I feel like Procreate is great for that.
Exactly.
Versus the like photorealistic kind of Photoshop type of render.
I completely agree. I'm going to put this in the talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference category. Thank you.
I 100% agree.
There's no faults.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for. Like, InDesign is just fun.
Yeah.
Procreate is just fun.
Exactly.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay. What do we have next?
Next, we have Enscape, which is another rendering software. So in the A school, your first year, renders are kind of like this little secret. Like, they like kind of tiptoe around it. You're not going to like have a clear answer. Can you do it? No one, sure as hell, no one's going to tell you to do one.
Exactly.
So it's kind of just like this little thing out there that you know about. It's taboo.
Yeah.
And Enscape is a rendering software. So we haven't used it yet, but I've heard lots of good things about it.
Well, I've actually used it before in undergrad on my friend's computer because you can't use it on an Apple computer, and I do have an Apple computer.
And we will be getting to that later.
Oh, we will. But Enscape is really cool at first because it's so realistic, but I personally don't like when renderings are so realistic because they almost look faker. If you try to look so real. But if you try to make them look artsy and fun, they, like, the point might come across a little better.
There's, like, more room for error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Enscape is awesome.
Yeah. It is really cool looking. But something that Kyle told us when someone pinned up a render last semester was, like, if you pin that render up, you're inviting all these questions that you don't want to invite yet.
No.
Because you're putting materials on your building when you haven't even figured out the form, the program, the circulation, all these other big things that come before the render.
Yeah.
The render is, like, the absolute final thing. And when you're in a review and someone's talking about hand railings and, like, wood texture and concrete, what material you're going to use, that's kind of how you know you did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, because then it's all just down to the details and the finishing touches.
Yeah.
But you don't want to put a render in for, like, a mid-review.
No. I feel like especially in your early years of your architecture career, just try to avoid renders, honestly. If they're not required, just maybe do a diagram instead.
Yeah. I feel like they're not necessary. Like, you can do a sketch.
Yeah.
They love a sketch. You could do, like, a watercolor sketch, perspective sketch.
Those are always so pretty, too.
Yeah. A sketch with color, I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Just nothing too realistic because you're just inviting criticism that you probably haven't even thought about yet.
Yeah.
Because, like, let's say you put wood cladding on your building, whatever building it is.
Yeah.
Then if you haven't, like, detailed that somewhere in, like, your construction kind of detail
people
or something.
Be so confused.
They're going to just be like, and how and why? Like, how are you going to put that wood cladding? What kind of wood cladding? Is that weather-resistant wood cladding? What kind of, like, spray is on that?
And I feel like you want people to be asking you more about your general idea.
Exactly.
And, like, you know, not the superficial little things like that.
Yeah.
Also, we should have talked about this earlier, but how would you explain a render to someone who has never heard that word before?
Oh, yes. We should explain this. Okay, a render is... So in architecture school, you're going to make these kind of abstract things. You're going to make, like, a paper model of some concept or idea or theory. And then a render is when you take that kind of concept into real life. So you take like a massing bottle that's like massing bottle. Whoa. A massing model. Like let's say it's just a square, it's a cube.
Yeah.
And then you want to make that a glass cube sitting in a park.
Yes.
So instead of, you actually made it in real life out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take a photo of it in a photo booth,
Mm-hmm.
you then take it to Photoshop or Illustrator or Enscape,
Mm-hmm.
and you put grass in the photo, and you put glass on it, add opacity, you add lights, you make it look like it's a real glass cube in a field.
Exactly. It's basically, you want it to look like someone just was walking by and took a photograph of this in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is super hard to achieve.
Very, very hard.
Which is why it can be so taboo in a way.
Exactly.
'Cause if you just miss one tiny detail, you
Mm-hmm.
it's all off.
Although sometimes when we look up other architecture firms and we're met with like a stunning rendering, it does make a difference. I'm
It
like,
does.
oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with that.
And like firms use it for like marketing,
Yeah.
and to give to clients,
Mhm.
because clients are people that don't really know architecture, and if
Yeah.
you give them a plan and section, they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
I can't imagine myself looking at this building or being in this building, but that's why we have renders.
Exactly.
That's why you give them
Yeah.
a render, because they're like, oh, I get it now.
It's easier to imagine yourself when you have a picture of what the final product will look like.
Exactly. And when you're in front of a jury of architects, they don't need a render.
Yeah.
They know what your plan, they know
Exactly.
very well what a plan and a section is, and
That's
they
a
can
great
navigate
point.
themselves through it.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, where do we want to put Enscape? We haven't really used it, but like we know what it is.
I think
I-
cringe.
I kind of think cringe too.
Yeah.
Third
I
from
think
the
cringe.
top. Yeah.
Because it can go so well, but it can go so bad.
Like it gets cringy when you just like use it in instances where it's just not needed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Next we have SketchUp. I have never used SketchUp and I don't honestly even know what it is.
It's another render software.
Okay.
I feel like we can put SketchUp in the same category as cringe, because they kind of do the same thing. They're just kind of different.
Yeah, I feel like the
Platforms
same
for
that we
it.
said for Enscape applies to SketchUp,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
We've covered it.
We had been there, done that. Okay, next, Google Slides. We love Google Slides.
Google Slides are just the background, not the background, the backbone
Yes.
to any educational experience.
I mean, whenever you're sick of using any of these softwares that we just talked about, like Illustrator, InDesign, try it on Google Slides.
Exactly.
You never know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
During, at UVA, if you go to UVA and you're doing Path 3 MArch, you have to do SDI, Summer Design Institute.
Ugh.
And during this, they didn't teach us any of these programs. They just kind of threw them at us. And we had to do weekly submissions, and I had no idea how to use InDesign. They
No.
told us about it, but I was very afraid of it. I was already trying to learn Rhino and CAD at the same time.
Exactly.
So I just did everything in Google Slides and turned it into a PDF, and no one knew. No one would know.
No, no one would know.
And it's so easy.
It's so easy. Like it's a dirty little secret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I made my portfolio for architecture school in Google Slides.
Same.
I
Same.
remember downloading InDesign and being like, okay, I'm going to be professional. I'm going to like do it like this, and I'm going to watch these tutorials. Never did that.
No.
2 days before the deadline, I'm in Google Slides. Bada bing,
Pumping
bada
this
boom.
out. Exactly. Working your magic. Yeah. Okay. I think we put this at the top.
I think it has to.
It like, I wouldn't change a thing.
I wouldn't change a thing.
It almost feels like Google Slides is like my sister
Exactly.
in my little pocket. Okay. What do we have next?
PowerPoint.
Okay. I'm not a PowerPoint
I'm
girl.
not a PowerPoint girl either. I think PowerPoint is just, it's like a more complicated Google Slides.
Yeah. I feel like just the interface is different. That's pretty
Yeah.
much the only thing. And it's just, the interface is so ugly.
I think you can do more things with it.
Yeah.
But like from a very simple perspective of what you need to get done in architecture school, at least, like it's not necessary.
No. I feel like only people who don't use Google platform
Yeah.
use PowerPoint,
Yeah.
right?
It's intuitive. I mean, it's not hard to use at all, but it's just, I'm a Google girl.
Yeah. If you use PowerPoint, no hate to you.
No hate.
Just couldn't be me.
I remember making my Google account in like elementary school.
Yeah.
Being on the Google Docs, chatting it up with people.
Chatting it up.
So I'm just Google all the way.
Yeah.
So I think PowerPoint can go in cringe because it didn't do anything wrong to us, but she's just cringe.
The interface is so nasty and so rude, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I can accept that.
I feel like we put a lot of stuff in cringe recently,
Okay.
and I wouldn't compare it to the things we put in cringe.
That is true.
You
That
know?
is true. I will take that. Okay. So nasty and so rude is
Yes.
where PowerPoint is going.
Okay. Amazing. Next up, we get into the computers a little bit.
Yes.
Starting off strong with Apple computers. I myself have an Apple computer, and I love her to death.
I'm speechless. So Madeline has an Apple computer, as she said,
Yes.
and I have a Windows computer. This is a hot topic in between the two of us.
It really is.
Because, I mean, I love Apple.
Yeah.
But when going to architecture school, all I heard about was don't bring an Apple laptop. Like, it's just harder. Like, just getting different softwares. You're just going to encounter some problems. So I decided to change from my MacBook Pro, who I loved. She was cute. I mean, sometimes it kind of sounded like it wanted to take off.
I mean, it does sound like that sometimes, but that's part of the charm.
Yes, but charm for $2,000? I don't know.
Fair. You make a fine point, but I think, okay, if you were to open up Rhino on your Windows computer and I opened Rhino on my Apple computer, my interface is stunning.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
That's opinion.
No, this is completely opinion-based. Apple computers, the only fault is that you can't download things like ArcGIS on it, but I have some solutions for you guys. So
Which we're going to get into.
buckle in.
For sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to computers. But overall, I mean, I love Apple. It's just, it's kind of weird when, like, Madeline has Apple and I have Microsoft and we're both working on something and she has a question or I have a question.
We can't help each other.
We're just disabled on each other's
Yeah,
laptops.
we really are.
Because we're like, whoa, like, I know exactly how to fix the problem you're talking about, but your interface just looks totally different than mine.
Whenever I ask a professor a question, like, how do I do this on my computer? It's always like, oh, they have an Apple computer. Oh,
Yeah.
she has an Apple computer.
Even though a lot of professors have Macs, a lot more
Honestly,
than I thought.
most of them,
Yeah.
right?
Which I was confused and shocked by.
I'm shocked by as well, but I can't blame them because I have one too. So,
Yeah.
okay, I want to put Apple computers in You Are Now One of My Elite Employees.
Okay.
I wouldn't say a bad thing about it. You might want to put this in a different category. The only thing holding it
know.
from the top is you can't download some things, but I have a solution.
I don't know. I feel like because you can't download some things, that's like a big deal.
Yeah, but I have them downloaded.
Yeah. Okay, I can give you You Are Now One of My Elite Employees.
Okay.
That's fine, I guess.
Okay, now tell me about your Windows computer.
Okay. I have a Windows Surface laptop. And first thing I'm going to tell you is that anytime I have someone come over to my computer and look at something, they're like, what is this, an Apple? And I say, no, this is a Windows.
I will say her Windows computer that she has chosen is beautiful.
I mean-
I've seen most of the time they're ugly, I will say.
Yeah. There's a lot of ugly computers like Dells. Sorry to the Dells.
Sorry, Dell.
There's a lot of ugly computers that run Windows, but the actual Windows computers are pretty stunning. Like, they're pretty cute.
Yeah.
And just because they are mimicking Apple. Apple does style well. I give it that.
Thank you.
Apple does style perfectly.
Yes.
I do miss the Apple kind of interface.
Mm-hmm.
But my Windows, like, if you're going to architecture school and you want a Windows, but you're kind of sad about letting go of your Apple, Windows Surface laptop.
Okay,
Because
yes.
it's really not that big of a transition. Like,
It
I
does
was
have a
worried
touch
about
screen
it.
too, which
Yeah.
is nice.
It's honestly a little too much. Like, it's a touch screen and it flips.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's all in one.
Yeah, which is a little much for me. Like, sometimes I accidentally flip it. Sometimes people come up to my computer and they kind of like touch the screen when they're pointing at something and they don't realize my computer is touch screen.
I've seen this happen to you more times than once.
And Madeline has been a perpetrator of this.
I am the one doing it the most.
Yes.
I'll say that.
It happens frequently.
It does.
But I just like how I was always an Apple girl, and then switching to Windows, I feel like I've learned more about computers in general.
yes,
Because, like, Apple, if you know Apple, you only know, like, the very specific narrow.
It's niche.
Kind of. It's more niche.
Yeah.
But like Windows, like I can operate any computer now.
Yeah.
Because I know Windows.
I guess.
Which like this is very basic. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I know what a file explorer is now.
Yeah,
like,
I don't.
Exactly. And exactly.
Although I could learn if I wanted to, I just don't want to.
No.
And that, I'll admit that's one of my faults.
I mean, you don't have to.
I don't have to. Okay, where are you going to put Windows?
I think if you're going to have an Apple computer, you have to be as diehard as Madeline.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, you're probably going to be miserable. But
you're going to get annoyed quickly.
She is so diehard Apple that it doesn't faze her that she has to download 5 other things to download one thing.
I don't care at all.
So I think Windows will go with you are now one of my elite employees.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Because I think, one, we can't put Apple in one and Windows in another because we will fight. We will not get over it.
Yeah, no.
And 2, I think it's deserving. I think they both
so too.
have their downsides that we've explained. I think it's fair.
Yeah, I think so too. We don't have this in our list, but I've seen the computers Alienware. Are you familiar with
I'm familiar.
They are chunky. And massive, but they're silent. Like, those will get the job done.
No, there's, like, I think the best ones are, like, the Dell XPs and the Alienware.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want your computer to say a peep, reload, nothing, you just want seamless, go for a Dell or an Alienware.
Yeah.
I was definitely prioritizing aesthetics, and that's why I chose the Windows Surface laptop. But I think there are tons of like computers out there that run Windows that are, one, cheaper than a Windows computer.
Yeah.
And
just better.
Their stats are way better.
Yeah, the stats. Okay, next we have Parallel Toolbox. This is specific for the people who have Apple computers like myself. Parallel Toolbox, you do have to pay for it. I don't remember how much it was. It was about $50. But you download it on your computer, and you don't have to change, like, you don't have to shut down your computer to access it, but it basically just makes it as a little app at the bottom that's a Windows app. So the second I open that app, I can download ArcGIS and the softwares that I wasn't able to download before.
Beautiful.
It's awesome.
Now, is that a one-time $50 fee or like a recurring?
It's a one-time.
One-time? Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So is Rhino. We didn't say the prices on anything, but Rhino's a one-time fee.
It is expensive. I don't even remember how much it was.
Yeah. Rhino's $90 with a student.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then, like, AutoCAD is, if you have a student ID, it's free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is stunning.
Yeah. I'm going to just go ahead and put Parallel Toolbox in the you are now one of my elite employees.
Okay. I mean, I think, yeah. Because
I have no problems with it.
I mean, it does get the job done.
Yeah, it really does. It's nice. The alternative is the next one on the list, Boot Camp. Boot Camp is like you have to shut down your Apple computer and completely switch interfaces, everything on the same computer, but it's just will open up as a Windows computer. It's slow. It's annoying. I've never spoken to someone who had to use Boot Camp who liked it.
Okay. That's really interesting.
It's just annoying because you'll use your mouse and it lags.
Oh,
you know?
No.
It's not good.
No. A lagging mouse will drive you insane.
I had to use it like 1 year and it like drove me to my breaking point.
No.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Is it free?
It's free.
Okay.
That's the thing.
That's the problem.
You know?
Splurge on the $50.
Splurge and get Parallel Toolbox.
Yes.
You're welcome.
From what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boot Camp, death to them all. Or what was the reason? What do you think? Because it gets the job done. It's just so annoying.
I think
it's
death
free,
to them
though.
all because I see what you mean, but like a lagging mouse, like sometimes my mouse will lag in CAD if I have too many things in it, and nothing makes me more frustrated than that. It is
so frustrating.
Yeah. Then you're like, I don't even want to work anymore.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
even, it's
death
not even
to them
worth
all.
it.
Death to them all.
Exactly.
Okay, next we have laptop versus desktop monitor.
Yes. So a lot of people in studio, at least in the UVA studio, you can like get this arm to put on your desk and put a monitor on it. Yeah, it's like this really...
It looks like a little robotic arm.
Yeah. It's very clunky. And you can put a monitor on your desk, which is great for your back.
Oh, yeah.
If you have back problems, get a monitor. And it also is nice because something about buying a laptop you want to be careful with when applying to architecture school is you don't want one with too small of a screen. So you want to get kind of like a 16-inch and up, I think, is like the standard.
And like, I didn't think about this when I was buying my computer. I was like, how much of a difference will the screen size make? A lot.
A lot of a difference.
A lot of a difference.
So that's like a downfall for the laptop, is like it's a smaller screen, but you're portable, move it anywhere you want.
Yeah.
But the monitor is really nice because it's a huge screen, and yeah, it's like
I feel like
easy.
In a dream world we would have both.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, honestly, I'm gonna pick a laptop because I do work at home a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I like to be on the go.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right?
Like, I love working at a desktop, but there's nowhere that I want to be that long.
No. No. See, that's where we're different than some people, because I know some people in our studio, they're like, studio's for work, home is for everything else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not working at home.
Which in theory is amazing.
Yeah.
But like trying to actually do that, like it depends on your personality and who you are, but I will drive myself insane if I have to be in that building 24/7 to do my work. Like,
exactly.
I'll get more work done if I can just get out of there.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll break these into two. Where are you putting laptop on the list?
Laptop has got to go in elite employees or in the very top.
I kind of think very top.
Very top?
Yeah. Okay, it's going tippy top. I'm going to put the desktop in the elite employees.
I was thinking cringe.
Oh.
Because also, okay, this is just me, but like I'll get embarrassed if I get too into a hobby and I like buy all this crazy stuff for it. So like buying a monitor is like, I'm an architecture student.
You're right. Okay,
you know?
cringe.
So it's cringe to me. I'm like, I can't buy it because then I'm just like, I'm too into it.
Yeah, this reminds me, when I was getting a hot glue gun for studio, I could either pick a hot glue gun that everyone knows, the little one, or like the chunky, it's huge. And as much as I would love the huge one now, I just did not want to stand out that much.
No, I want to blend in a little.
I need to blend in a little bit.
I want to be a little modest.
Yes,
I want to make it by with the same amount everyone else has. I don't want to be going out of my way to like give myself a leg up. Even though that's just like not reality. Like that's just how my brain works.
Yeah, same.
But that's why monitors should go in cringe.
I agree with that. Okay. What's our last category?
Mouse versus no mouse.
Another hot topic.
Hot topic.
Hot.
So when you go to architecture school, everybody is going to tell you, buy a mouse. Your professors are going to scream at you, buy a mouse.
Your TAs will.
Everyone.
Your peers will.
Nobody will cut you any slack if you don't have a mouse. Madeline doesn't have a mouse.
I don't have a mouse, and I'm proud of that.
And
I'm proud of how far I've come.
Honestly, she's just stubborn at this point. Because there's multiple occasions where she said, wow, I could really use a mouse right now.
Nope.
She will not. She's made it this far. 3 years in architecture. It's incredible.
It just kind of makes sense now. I think using my mouse, I have to move my hand in a different...
You're so far gone. It's like...
I'm too far gone.
It's too much now.
I think the only person who could ever convinced me to use a mouse is my future boss, and they were like, I will fire you if you don't use a mouse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
My professors have been like, you need a mouse, and I'm like, okay, I'll get it. Nope.
I mean, and you wouldn't be able to tell Madeline doesn't use a mouse. I mean,
no,
there's no
you would
way
never
to
be able to tell.
It's just like, it's just crazy to other people how like she works.
Yeah.
If you try using your mouse on Rhino, like, good luck. I don't know how she does it. Maybe it's an Apple thing. I don't know.
I think it does all come back to the Apple of it all.
Yeah. Because if you're using Windows and you're on Rhino,
you
can't pan around and like you can't move with the mouse. With the mouse pad. You need the mouse.
Yeah. I'm going to put having no mouse in cringe for the sake of others. If it was just for me, top tier. But I know that for some other people, it drives them insane.
It's cringe to watch.
Oh my God. Being attacked.
Just like I can't think of a single person that doesn't have a mouse.
Me.
Which is the crazy thing.
I know.
She's just so unique and
so
special,
unique.
guys.
I'm not like other girls. Where do you put a mouse?
I mean, mouse has got to be like
top
or elite employees. I mean,
I'm just going to go for it and put it in the top.
Yeah.
There's no problem
with it.
it's
a game changer for some people. Like, I guess we can deduce it to a Mac versus Windows thing. But for Windows, if that really is the case, you need a mouse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you really do.
You really do.
Okay, that was our last category. We'll be posting our results on our Instagram. Thank you guys so much for listening to Talkitecture. We hope you enjoyed our game. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at talkitecture.pod. Bye.
Bye.